J.K. Rowling hitting some rough early reviews of her first adult novel. We're going to talk right now to Chris Farley, who has been has been reading the book and live blogging the entire thing for our Speakeasy blog. How you feeling?
And it took longer than I thought. I mean, I started just after 6 and I didn't finish till midnight, but I live blogged my way through the entire book. So I've read it so I can report to you on what it actually is about and what people are saying about it.
Some rough early reviews by New York Times critics, Los Angeles Times critics. I want to get your take personally, and then we'll move on to how this might affect book sales.
Well, J.K. Rowling in general is kind of review-proof, but that's because her earlier books all got positive reviews. So, for the most part, this book did get some rough ones. We see it still is #1 on the Amazon.com bestseller list. We'll have to see what the actual sales are. They put out 2 million copies of this book in the first printing. That's a lot of books to sell. It's the biggest number of books that Little Brown has printed all year for a first printing for a book. So she's got a lot of ground to cover. But I think that some of the, Jeffrey Trachtenberg reported that the independent bookseller he's talked to is already saying that this is selling well for us. So that's just anecdotal evidence so far.
Not just online, but also in stores.
Yeah, in stores, it's still doing well. People still want to see, well, is this something I want to read if I liked her kid book so much.
And isn't there also just this effect, it's sort of the same thing with 50 Shades of Grey, people just want to know what everybody's talking about, and so people will go out and buy the book just to read that as well. I mean, they know the name, they hear a lot about it, people tend to gravitate toward what they've heard about.
Yeah, there's curiosity to see whether she can have success in another genre. I mean, back in the day when Tom Wolfe wrote his first novel, Bonfire of the Vanities, people thought, geez, can he really do this? This guy's a new journalist, he's a nonfiction writer, he can't really write fiction, can he? Yeah. But of course that worked out pretty well for him. It became a really important novel for a lot of critics. People thought it really broke new ground and it established his voice as a novelist too. J.K. Rowling doing the same kind of thing, but breaking out from kidlit to adult literature.
And isn't the truth of the matter is even modest or mediocre sales for J.K. Rowling is still going to be really good.
Exactly. But this book really isn't for kids. There's a lot of kind of naughty language that there's no way the kinds of kids that read her books should be allowed to see by their parents reading this kind of a book. And so she really has made a clean break with what she's written before by writing this book.
And you have some issues with the plot, but I'll let people read that online on the Speakeasy blog. Chris Farley, he's our editorial director of blogs and the czar of all things cultural here. Thanks for being here on Lunch Break, Chris.